Hey, what's up everyone? Back for a NBA video for tonight. We have a 7-game slate for this Monday. So let's get into it. You can drop a like and subscribe down below if you have not already. Hopefully you guys all had a good weekend. Had a great weekend in NFL. If you watched the video that I posted on Saturday night, then you were set. The picks, definitely the best NFL video I probably posted all year, one of the best ones. With Tannehill, Carson, Gurley, A.J. Brown, Parker, and Greg Ward were the Draftkings picks, and then I had those guys in basically all of my early and main lineups. And the receivers weren't popular at all. Parker wasn't high owned, Greg Ward was low owned, and he went off in the last drive, got that touchdown. And A.J. Brown, Tannehill was my favorite stack of the week, and it paid off. So hopefully some of that can carry into NBA this week. So starting off here at point guard, like I said, we'll try to get 150 likes on the video if we can. So starting off here at point guard, James Harden, you can bet he's going to be at 12-9 for maybe the rest of the year. I mean, he's been playing great basketball. Last time out wasn't great against Detroit. He just struggled with his shot, 14 of 33. But he's back facing San Antonio, who he dropped 78 fantasy points against. We know the San Antonio team plays no defense. That game also did go into double overtime. But Harden was already solid by the end of the four quarters. If we get more value here, like if we see that Blake Griffin sits or Drummond sits and we can load up on the cheap Pistons guys, then I think I can pay up for Harden. But right now it's tough. Just also if Devin Booker's out, that'll make it easier. But right now I think there's some decent value here at point guard, like 65 for McCollum is really affordable. Van Fleet's doubtful, so I'm liking Norman Powell, Pascal Siakam get nice bumps. Even Marc Gasol, believe it or not, is averaging 0.2 fantasy points per minute more without Van Fleet out there on the floor. I'm liking Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but DeJounte Murray, now that he's back in the starting lineup, played 31 minutes, no longer on a minutes limit. I wish that was the case against Cleveland, where he only played 17 minutes off the bench, even though he was playing great defense. But you know what you're going to get from Murray. You're going to get a player that plays hard the whole game. He's going to be aggressive on the defensive end. And now that he's going to play 30 minutes a night, he can, average over 2 steals per game. Would not be shocked at all if he has if he averages 2.5 steals per game. Just because he's even in the limited minutes, he was averaging 1.7, and then now that if you give him 10 more minutes, then he should benefit there. Just a really solid player. He's not great at shooting the ball, but he drives, he attacks, he can get rebounds, can get you double-doubles at times, not every time, but he's an aggressive rebounder and can make some assists. So at a point guard, 6,100, going to be needed to defend Russell Westbrook or James Harden. I feel like he's at a really nice price point. Shooting guard, Jimmy Butler. Once again, the Heat are missing a couple of their guys that have been out. Last year, at the beginning of the year, Heat were frustrating because they had 12-man rotations, and now they're frustrating because they play this. They're missing guys and they have such a tight rotation, and the prices are still cheap on some of them. So Butler 91 is still very, very cheap. Basically, if he's gonna hit some of his shots, he's gonna put up 60 fantasy points or 50 plus fantasy points. Coming off a couple of tough matchups against the Lakers and against the Dallas Mavericks. It's a really good matchup against the Grizzlies on the road here. Hopefully he'll stay a bit closer. It's on the road, and it's a really fast-paced environment. Butler has been an all-around producer this year, especially as of late. And then, maybe you can go to, like I said, McCollum, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Fine options. Kendrick Nunn, 6K, I think is a decent play, but not sure we're getting a great value on that price. I mean, occasionally to go off for 40 fantasy points, but, that 52 fantasy point game, he had to score 36 points. Not sure that's going to happen very often. And then Tim Hardaway is going to have to see more offensive usage without... he's going to be the second to go-to scorer besides Kristaps. At 5,800, I am kind of liking him just because he's pretty cheap. His price tag did take a nice bump, but if he's making his shots, he can put up 40 fantasy points. So that's somebody else to consider. It is a tougher matchup against Milwaukee, but they play at one of the fastest paces in the league, so it should be a high-scoring game. But Jalen Brunson, 55, is a little bit safer, I think, with solid upside. I mean, he flirted with a triple-double, stepping in place of Luka. He's going to start. He's going to play probably solid minutes and, just affordable here. He's not a lock because he's at 5,500. On Fanduel, I would say he's a lock at very close to min price, but he's still a decent value option on the slate as of now. Small forward here, I'm kind of liking like Gallinari, 5,900. Just like the price tag on him. He hasn't been under like 6K very often, especially as of late. He's playing solid minutes here, and the Bulls are just a bad defense. Coming off of a 1 for 13 shooting performance, I expect Gallinari to bounce back, and we've seen him put up like 40 fantasy points this year. He's a good rebounder, and he's just a really good matchup against a Bulls team. They don't play super fast and pace, but they just don't have a lot of good defenders on the team, and it's at home in OKC. That should hopefully help. Gallinari got after kind of a tough road trip shooting the basketball for him, going back at home I think will help him. Just a really nice price tag on a guy that at this price point can get you like 7x. Power forward Giannis is another top play of the day. He's cheap. Only concern with him has been like blowouts. He hasn't been having to put in a ton of work, but he's averaging 60.5 fantasy points in 31 minutes. Without Bledsoe, is going to have to play a bigger role on offense, even more, facilitate maybe a little bit more. But Kristaps, 7,800, another play that I'm interested in, just because if you take off Luka Doncic, he gets the biggest bump in points per minute. Luka just takes so much usage that Kristaps, he was still being a decent fantasy player with him in there, but without him, you should go back to like his Knicks days where he just is so aggressive. Took 21 shots, only made 7 of them, but he got it done with the rebounds, blocks. He's a great shot blocker. Here against Milwaukee, it's a tough matchup, but the usage and the minutes, they should all be there. Just feel kind of tough to not have Kristaps looking at his rates without Doncic in there. And then as center here, like Adebayo, 82. Been playing great. Going to have to continue to produce. Valanciunas been letting me down as of late, but the price point is still very, very enticing. 6,200 for Valanciunas. And then Markkanen, 6K, starting to come around. He's been shooting the ball a lot better. He scored at least double digits in like a string of games. He had a big rebounding game last time out. I want to see if he played some center here. I know that Gafford is going to miss. He's questionable, so maybe he played some center. If Cornette didn't get any run, then that's probably what happened. Played 7 minutes, though he didn't play any minutes, so yeah, I could see Markkanen be a nice play here at 6,000. And then Marc Gasol, believe it or not, nobody's been playing him. I played him on Fanduel, but it didn't matter because I switched off of Siakam the other day. But he's been really, really good as of late. In some tougher matchups too, like against the Clippers and against the Rockets. He actually sees a nice bump in points per minute without Van Fleet in there. And he's been a little bit more, if you watch the game, he's been a little bit more comfortable shooting the ball, making much more of his shots than he was earlier this year. Looks like he has his legs under him. And he's been really aggressive on the rebounding end as well as of late. So, at 5,800 against this Cleveland defense, they struggle rebounding the basketball. And with Tristan Thompson in there, he's going to have to, he's going to get minutes here. He has been seeing some solid minutes as of late. Just feel like he could be a nice low-owned play that goes for, 40 fantasy points. But I think Bam Adebayo is a guy that I'm interested in at 8,200. Just monster upside. You're getting a 60-point upside guy at a very cheap price tag. I think you want to probably get at least one Heat player in there against the Grizzlies, and I think Adebayo might be one of my favorites just because he is cheaper than Butler. He's cheaper than Butler, but he has similar upside to Butler because does a little bit of everything out there on the floor. And then at guard, I'm kind of liking Dante DiVincenzo, 4,600. Surprisingly, he got the start in place of Bledsoe. He played 25 minutes. The game did get out of hand, but I think you're going to see him play like 25 to 28 minutes, and then you're going to see George Hill play like 23 to 25 or whatever. I don't think either one is gonna get over 30 minutes very often, unless the game is very close or unless they're playing very well, unless one of them is playing very well. At 4,600, if you look at the minutes and the production, if you look at the rates without Bledsoe out there, he's averaging about 1.02 Draftkings points per minute at 4,600. Give him like 26 to 28 minutes. He can make value here. Price tag did go up a little bit, but I still think he's a very solid option. And then just a cheap value play, maybe JJ Barea. Nobody's going to play him, but I could see him get 13 to 15 minutes here, and he's always been like a burst of energy off the bench when he does come out there on the floor. Without Doncic, he's going to hopefully get some minutes, and if he does, I think he can produce and get you, make value at only a $3,100 salary. So that's another guy to consider here at a cheap price point. So let's go over to Fanduel here. Fanduel point guard, it's very easy. You play Jalen Brunson at $3,700. Way, way too cheap on Fanduel. Just don't overthink that one. At shooting guard, DiVincenzo is even more appealing on Fanduel at $4K. Just too cheap. Really, really cheap. For a guy he actually has been playing pretty good this year. If you watch him out there on the court, he's shooting the ball pretty well, and he can get you some rebounds and peripherals as well. Small forward, I prefer Giannis, another great play. I'll probably try to get to Giannis and Siakam if I can with the value plays. I'm not really interested in Gallinari at all at 7K. Really like him on Draftkings, though. Maybe you could go Tim Hardaway at 54, but Siakam, 8,600. Just really nicely priced here on FanDuel. He has monster upside, as we saw his last time out. And also, in that game against Brooklyn, I don't know what the Nets were thinking. They were having Spencer Dinwiddie defend Siakam for the entire first half, and that led to him having 40 fantasy points at the end of that first half. I don't know what they were doing. And then the second half, they switched it up, and they made it tougher on Siakam. But the first half was just so easy for him. And in this one, if he's probably defended by Chetty Osman, he's going to crush. At power forward, Bam and Kristaps are probably play one of them, I think. There's not a ton here in this mid-range really on power forward on FanDuel. If we get some value, if Griffin's out, then maybe Christian Wood would be an appealing option at 3,800. Right now, I'm kind of liking Bam Adebayo, 9,300. You know what you're going to get from him. You're going to get probably 50 fantasy points to 60 fantasy points. He's done that in most of the games that they've been missing missing Dragic and missing Winslow. Only didn't do that in a tough matchup against the Lakers. I'm not sure if they played in the Boston game, but just feel like Adebayo is going to produce here in a good matchup against the Grizzlies. Fast pace, perfect matchup for him. And then at center here, if Drummond is in and Griffin's out, then play Drummond at 10K. If they're both in, I think Drummond's a fine play. And then if Drummond's out, then obviously play guys I don't know how many minutes Don Maker got. It might be a little, not super appealing. Probably just play Christian Wood. But here on FanDuel, maybe Marc Gasol, 6,000. Nobody's really been touching him. Kind of like that, the price point on him. When you got Capella at 97, Whiteside at 9,500. They've been playing great, but it's just tough for me to pay 9,500 for Hassan Whiteside. Just given just how he can be volatile with the scoring. But maybe Gasol, I think, a 6K right now. If I want to pay up for Giannis as well, he lets me do it. Nobody's really been playing him. Maybe they'll play him tonight after just looking at it. But it's another good matchup for him. He's at home. He's been playing very, very well out there. The Cavaliers, not good at all defensively, and one of the worst offenses in the league. So should be plenty of spots for him to get some rebounds, blocks, and steals and stuff. So that's what I'm liking for this Monday slate. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You can drop a like if you enjoyed, and good luck today.